Hey everybody, I hope you guys are healthy and safe. So this is the M2 iPad Pro. This is not new. This came out in November 2022. So it's about 7 months old now, but nonetheless, I just got my hands on it and I'm very excited because ever since Apple first launched the iPad Pro in 2015, I've been trying to make the iPad Pro my work machine because I'm a digital nomad. I'm always working out at coffee shops, always out and about. I don't want to carry something heavy in my bag. I want the lightest possible setup without compromising on power. The iPad Pro is the machine that can provide me enough power, battery life, and also the software ecosystem for me to do work. And for the most part, for my writing work, I've already been able to do it on the iPad Pro since like 2015, 2017. But because I edit videos more seriously now, I've had to go back to a MacBook because of Final Cut Pro. That was until a couple months ago when Apple launched Final Cut Pro on iPad. So for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the iPad Pro my sole work machine for the next 7 days. I'm going to do everything on the iPad Pro, from writing articles for XDA developers to doing video calls with my colleagues, reading specs and press releases, fact checking, and of course, editing videos on the Final Cut Pro. I'll be using the iPad Pro with Apple's Magic Keyboard and then also a third-party case from TomTalk. But without further ado, let's start with an unboxing of the iPad Pro, even though there's really not much to unbox with Apple products. So my previous iPad before this one was the M1 iPad Pro from 2 years ago. The M1 is still very capable today, but the M2 iPad Pro has a 40% faster neural engine and it supports Wi-Fi 6E. So Apple is using all plastic-free packaging now, environmental friendly. Nothing new with the hardware from the outside because this will fit the same Magic Keyboard from several years ago. So you have a 12.9-inch mini LED screen that's very vibrant. Not quite as great as like an OLED panel, but definitely better than a traditional LCD panel, 120 hertz refresh rate. And as I said, there's really not much to unbox. You have a cable and a charger, that is it. So even though I personally will be using the iPad Pro with Apple's Magic Keyboard quite a lot because I like the trackpad and keyboard, not everybody will want to use this. First of all, because it's expensive. The Magic Keyboard retails for over $350 US. And second, it's actually quite heavy. This thing by itself weighs 1.5 pounds. If you want something a little bit cheaper or lightweight, then you may want to consider is TomTalk's Ultra Detachable case for the iPad Pro. And it's a two-part case, as the name implies. So you have the flap made out of premium PU synthetic leather, and you have this frame right here. If you look closely, they're actually raised bumpers right here, which TomTalk call airbags. The bumpers also elevate over the screen. There's a slot right here for the Apple Pencil. Even with the case, the Apple Pencil can still charge wirelessly. This case also props up the iPad Pro at 3 different angles. So the first is the conventional landscape orientation angle. It will stay in place at practically any angle. The range is quite high. If you want to use it in portrait orientation, you basically just turn the case sideways. This flap opens up, it connects to the back of the iPad, and then this will also fold a little bit to sit at an angle. The third mode is called sketch mode. You just basically bring the flap back, prop up the iPad. Now you have an optimal angle to use your Apple Pencil. Thanks to TomTalk for sponsoring this portion of the video. Okay, so I need to do some writing work for XDA developers. So XDA actually uses its own CMS. And it doesn't play nice with mobile web browsers. Luckily, with the iPad, I can run it in desktop web browser and it's fine. And I like being able to log into my account with Face ID. I just need to tap on Use My Account, and it'll scan my face, and it'll log me in. So see, the CMS actually looks pretty nice on Safari for iPad. And for work, I usually need to keep track of Slack. So I will just have Slack open on the side like this. Like this if I'm actively in a conversation. If I'm not, I tap on the 3 dots and you slide over. And I can slide Slack in and out whenever I need. Okay, I know this setup looks ridiculous. I have an iPad propped up this high off the table. It's because I'm writing a very long article right now for XDA developers, and I'm on the road, I'm traveling. I don't have a portable monitor on me. I also don't like writing off a laptop for long periods of time because it's very bad for your neck to sit like this and look down at the screen. So what I'm doing is I am using Apple's universal control to allow me to control the iPad with my MacBook's keyboard and trackpad. So I'm actually typing the article on the iPad right now, but I'm typing down here on the MacBook, but I can look straight ahead. I don't really need to do anything to set up. I just need to bring my MacBook and iPad together. As long as they're connected to the same Wi-Fi and they're logged into the same Apple ID, I can immediately move my mouse cursor between the two screens, and the keyboards will work across devices too. So it can go the other way around. I can control the MacBook screen with my iPad's keyboard. It's really awesome, the seamless connectivity between Apple devices.
Is unclear? Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, so now I am editing the video that you're watching right now on Final Cut Pro on the iPad. So Final Cut Pro for the iPad is actually designed mostly for two-hand use, like for handheld use, instead of putting on a Magic Keyboard with the trackpad. So you have this very useful jog dial here that allows me to quickly scrub through the timeline by cycling through. And I like that I can move the dial slower to go frame by frame, or I can just swipe it really fast to quickly cycle through the timeline. And check out how there's like no delay whatsoever with the footage on here. I can also use an Apple Pencil to hover over the timeline and scrub through the timeline this way. There's no latency between my hand movement and the files. So unfortunately, the iPad doesn't have an SD card reader, so to move the camera files over here, I have to use a freaking dongle, which I don't like. But the good news is once the files are moved over, it stays on the iPad, so now I'm just editing entirely on device. And the M2 is so efficient that even though I've been editing for 10 minutes and I'm outside in the hot weather, the machine's only slightly warm. Definitely better than a Google Pixel Fold with the Tensor G2. So there are a couple of benefits to editing directly on Final Cut Pro on iPad. The first is you can actually add animations with the Apple Pencil. So you just tap on this icon here and I can draw like this. Just hit done, and then now if I play it, it'll actually show up on the video. If I want to do this on Final Cut Pro on the MacBook, it's like a multi-step process. It requires plug-in, all that. The other benefit is you can also film footage directly with the iPad Pro cameras directly onto the Final Cut Pro software, so you can just put the file immediately in here. So you just have to tap on this icon, and now you'll bring up the camera footage, so I can film a B-roll. You know, the iPad Pro's camera is not amazing, but it's not bad. It's definitely serviceable. So just like that, if I hit done, then the file is here and I can move it here now. So anyway, I'm gonna put together this video right now. I think the final video is gonna be around 9 minutes long, and I'm gonna export it, render in real time, and see how fast the M2 can render everything. Okay, so it is 2 a.m. on a Saturday night right now, but I am still editing. But this video is almost done. I mean, I guess I got to move this part over to the iPad too to put it at the end of the video, but the video is going to be about like 8 minutes long. As you can see, multi-track. I need to put some final touches on the audio and graphics, and I will export this video. And it's been about 6.5 days now since I began using this iPad almost entirely. I have to admit, I did touch the MacBook Pro a little bit here and there. I did cheat a little bit on the iPad, the MacBook Pro, but for the most part, I really did do 98% of my work on the iPad Pro. I love this keyboard. I can type very fast on it. The CMS for XDA works perfectly fine. I was able to go on Google Meet and do video calls. Final Cut Pro on iPad Pro works very, very well. I actually think if I keep using this consistently, I may end up preferring this interface over the MacBooks, because I like the combination of I can edit using my fingers, Apple Pencil, and also the trackpad if I need. And also, what couple more things about Apple's ecosystem that I really, really like. And keep in mind, I am not like typically an Apple fanboy. I use an Android phone most of the time because I really like Android phones over iPhones. But when it comes to comparing devices, the Apple's ecosystem is just so good. So earlier today, I needed to send some files from my MacBook to my colleagues, but I was outside at the coffee shop and I only had the iPad on me. I didn't have the MacBook on me, but I remember that everything I put on my MacBook's home screen gets saved to iCloud Drive automatically. I don't need to upload it myself. It just gets saved automatically. So on my iPad, I just open the Files app, tap open, and then I can actually go to iCloud Drive, and you see this folder here called Desktop. If I open the desktop, I have all the files that's on my MacBook Pro. And again, it's not an action that I needed to prompt. any file that I just put on the MacBook Pro home screen, it automatically gets saved to iCloud Drive, and I can access it anywhere else with another Apple device, on an iPhone or on an iPad. If I wasn't on like a MacBook and iPad, if I was on, say, a Dell XPS 13 and I was on a OnePlus pad, I would have been like, hey, I need to go back home to get my laptop if I can send you the files. But instead, I was able to do it right away. Amazing. Like, honestly, I hate sounding like an Apple fanboy, but when I use Apple's computers and iPads with the M chip, I kind of do sound like an Apple fanboy. Okay, I'm almost done editing the video. I'm like 99% done, but I just realized one major goof up. So there's no way for me to show the rendering export process of this video you're watching on camera, because if I'm filming myself exporting the video, then I need to put the footage that I just filmed into the video. So what I can do is, I guess I will export this 99% version of the video, time it, and then after that, add this part onto there. So that's about the best I can do right now. So without further ado, let me open up the timer on my Xiaomi 13 Ultra, the best camera phone right now. So I have a stopwatch right here. I am going to hit export video. I'm going to export high quality. Export, start the timer. Wow, it's already at 89. Wow, okay, this is crazy. It's zipping right now. Let me bring the camera closer. I mean, it's already at 33%. 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. I mean, we're 21 seconds in and we're 52%. Holy hell. Final cut for M2 is fast. We're at 70%. So this is gonna render in under 1 minute. It's a 10-minute, 30-second video. %, 80. Okay, it's gonna take a little over a minute. And of course, the iPad Pro is completely, there's no fan. It's completely cool, even though there's no fan inside. It's like slightly warm right now. Finished. 1 minute, 28 seconds. Save video. Okay, so now if I jump out to the photo gallery, the video is here. 10.5-minute video. And it rendered in 1 minute, 28 seconds. Okay, so this is the M2 iPad Pro, and it is every bit as powerful as I was hoping it to be. And now that Final Cut Pro is available on iPad and it works so well, I can finally do 100% of my work on an iPad. Something like 8 years after I first tried to do so. In fact, I wrote an article on Forbes back in 2015 calling out Apple, saying, hey, Apple, stop calling the iPad Pro a work machine, because it's not. But 8 years later, Apple finally did it. Now I can take just this thing with me on work trips if I want to. I think the MacBook is still more powerful, so there's still a place for that. But sometimes if I want to travel lighter, this can do all my work for me, and that's exciting. So that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. It will help me a lot. I have a lot more coming up, including the Galaxy Z Fold 5 full review. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.